Today marks one of my favorite events on the academic calendar, and that is our annual Board of Visitors session. The Board of Visitors, for those of you who don't know, and I'm assuming most of you don't know, is an organization that was founded in the early 2000s, dedicated to continued engagement with Shadyside alums who live in various parts of the country and the world. And they convene a couple of times a year from, again, all corners of the globe to provide me, the administration, the board of trustees, counsel, advice, perspectives that come out of their own industry experience, the various places in the world that they're coming from, and certainly, and maybe most importantly, their own rich care and concern for the community of Shadyside Academy that we all share in. They are a dynamic group composed of highly successful alums who've made incredible differences in their industries, in their lines of work, and they all continue in ways that are large and small to live out the mission of the school and exhibit responsible leadership in all they do and to make us all proud of how they're carrying forward the Shadyside tradition. And so I'd like to ask all of the Board of Visitors members that are here today to please stand and allow us to welcome and recognize you. Four of our Board of Visitors members sit here to my left, here on the stage, and we're going to engage in a panel-style conversation with them and allow all four to share their perspectives on Shadyside and offer advice and counsel to all of you, just as they're here to do the same today for Shadyside's leadership. And I want to introduce each of them. To my most immediate left here is Kerry Hannon, class of 1978. Kerry is a workplace futurist, career strategist, retirement and personal finance expert and speaker. Kerry is the author of 14 books, including 5 national bestsellers. Her latest book is In Control at 50 Plus, How to Succeed in the New World of Work. She is a senior columnist and on-air expert at Yahoo Finance, as well as a contributing editor for Forbes. Kerry and her husband, Cliff Hackle, live in Washington, D.C. Kerry earned her BA from Duke University. Welcome, Kerry. To Kerry's left is Alex Howson Jr., class of 1982. Alex is an entrepreneur and the president and owner of Championship Experiences Incorporated, which owns and operates a 22-unit Sports Clips Haircuts franchise. I don't know if we have any Sports Clip customers in the house, but you have Alex to thank. He is nationally involved in the franchise industry as a mentor for new entrepreneurs pursuing franchising opportunities. Prior to becoming an entrepreneur, Alex spent over 20 years in brand management and senior level marketing roles, working with several large global businesses, including Procter & Gamble and McDonald's. Alex and his wife Sarah and their family live in Hinsdale, Illinois. And like Kerry, Alex too is a graduate of Duke University. Welcome, Alex. And for the Tar Heel fans in the audience, I swear to you that a diploma from Duke University is not a prerequisite for the Board of Visitors. To Alex's left is Remington Jackson, class of 2008. Remington is a commercial real estate associate with the private law firm of Moore and Van Allen in Charlotte, North Carolina. He assists developers, owners, lenders, landlords, and tenants in a variety of real estate transactions, including land acquisition and dispositions, financing, development, and leasing, and complex land use, entitlement, and public-private economic development projects. Remington is licensed to practice law in Ohio, is working to obtain his license in North Carolina, and currently resides, as I said, in Charlotte, North Carolina. He earned his BA from the College of Worcester and his JD from the University of Cincinnati College of Law. Welcome, Remington. Remington also routinely wins the Best Dressed Award for the Board of Visitors. And then finally, to Remington's left is Ryan Ruskin, class of 1986. Ryan is the president and CEO of the Ruskin Group, a 129-year-old global sustainable packaging company. At the beginning of 2015, Ryan assumed the role of non-executive chairman of MyEcho, a sustainability education business he helped found that uses technology and innovative products to help consumers break disposable habits through education, positive reinforcement, social engagement, and financial incentives, and by creating a collaborative relationship between consumers, businesses, and retailers to benefit the environment. Ryan lives in Chicago with his partner, Mike Andrews, and their 2 Labradors. Ryan is a graduate of Princeton University and earned his MBA from Northwestern University. He also has a master's in engineering management from Northwestern as well. Please welcome Ryan. Our first question for our BOV panelists, and we'll move from Kerry to Ryan. What advice would you give our students today as they plan their studies and future endeavors in order to pursue a career like yours or in a related field?
Great question.
I don't know by this on part.
It's on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So here's what I say. I'm a writer and a journalist. And for me, it has been the most amazing career. I mean, and I've, spent decades kind of traveling the world and telling people stories. I mean, that's the heart of what I've done. And what I love about being a journalist, and something that any of you who want to become a writer or pursue a field in communications, is that it forces you and encourages you to continually be learning. You're constantly learning new subjects. I mean, I've written about everything from roller coasters to raccoons. I mean, it doesn't matter. I've interviewed billionaires. I've interviewed somebody struggling to start their own business, women who are desperate to learn more about their finances and how to be financially secure. And the people I've met, the opportunities, that just having that intellectual curiosity to constantly challenge yourself to learn new things, to say yes, to say, yeah, I can write about that, absolutely, because what? You've learned here at Shady Side how to learn. You've learned how to develop new skills rapidly, quickly. That's going to become increasingly important, but the true core of it is having that curiosity, the idea that you really embrace the world and find new things out there all the time. And being in this field of journalism and communications and writing, that's what we do. We're constantly you're going from being a beginner to being an expert. It's about learning, and so curiosity and learning tie together, and it builds resilience. And resilience is that core characteristic that's going to lead you to have a successful life. The next thing I would say is always to follow your heart, to do what you love and align yourself with your heart, which is what I've done. I've absolutely loved learning, and it sounds kind of geeky, but it's true. And the part is, if you love what you do, I wrote a whole book called Love Your Job, and one of the key things is you need to love learning. And as you learn new things, that's a key characteristic to what you love about your job, because you're never bored, right? You're always reaching out. The other thing I encourage people to do is to write a mission statement. And you think like, oh my gosh, like we're way too young to be writing our mission statements, but we're not a company or a nonprofit, but I've always had a mission statement since I first started as a writer right out of Duke University, as I simply said, if I write about this, I learn about this, how is it going to positively impact someone's life? That's sort of my guardrail. So I put that out there, and I think that's really, really important to develop that. And moving forward, and I'll wrap up my comments here because I know there's others have a lot to say, is that it's super important as we move forward to realize that things are rapidly changing, right? That's no surprise to any of you. But there are some core things that you're learning here at Shadyside that you're going to carry with you that's going to make this easier. It's never going to go away with AI. It's the ability to communicate. It's the ability to have empathy for other people and to really have compassion. And I think those things are going to lead you to have a successful life and a successful career, and being willing to pivot, because career pivoting, this is the future, and it is, actually I should say it's now. It used to be unusual. People would have linear careers. Now you're going to do lots of different things, but if you're going to redeploy your skills in many, many directions. But if you can communicate both in the written word and orally and how you present yourself, and if you can authentically care about others and keep your network, the people you're sitting with right now, this network, I still have my classmates from Shadyside are part of my network today and have helped me tremendously in my career. And you have to work at a network. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to stay in touch with people. You'll gather people along the way. You may lose some, but your network, no matter how fast the world changes, those people are going to be part of your success, and you'll be part of theirs.
So when you get to school, if you're interested in business, there's so many different aspects of business. I would say connect with the dean. If there's a business part or economics or a career counselor or a career advisor, go start pursuing what to study, what internships to pursue, etc. And there's so many different paths. That's not what my advice is for you, really. Here's my advice. When you get to school, when you get to college, think about doing this when you're in college. Achieve something amazing, okay? Achieve something amazing. I could give you hundreds of examples, internships, off campus, on campus, whatever. I'm gonna give you this example. It's from my son. My son went to Indiana University. He now works at a private wealth management firm as a financial advisor, 20 advisors. He's 28 years old. And he worked prior to that at Merrill Lynch and prior to that at Vanguard. Wasn't the greatest student, all right? But he joined a fraternity at Indiana. And he was a leader in the fraternity, was having a lot of fun. They pushed him to study. But he kind of had a vision. He saw something missing on campus that he thought would be kind of fun to do. He wanted to create the opportunity for all the fraternities to compete against each other in a golf tournament, and do that to raise money for charity, okay? So he went to the pro at the local golf course, and he convinced the pro to give them a good price to shut the course down for an afternoon so they could do this golf tournament. And the pro agreed, because he saw something there. He then went to all the different fraternities to get them to agree to participate and to work with him on what that tournament procedure would be and how they would determine the winner. And then he was able to secure some people to help him raise money. And that team of people went out into the local community, and they got dozens of local businesses to sponsor hundreds of dollars to put this tournament together and to raise money for charity. And he didn't stop there. He said, let's call ESPN. Let's call the Golf Channel. These national golf-related, organizations. He called Golf Now, and he got commitments from all of them somehow, some way. And so they raised all this money. They had this very successful tournament, and he ran the logistics with his team of people helping him out. And they raised so much money that they were able to send several different athletes to the Special Olympics. And that's what he did, and that's what he could talk about, with his, in his interviews, and it gave him confidence for initiative and leadership and achievement. And that's what business achievement's all about. So achieve something amazing. Go out, really step out of the bounds. Do something that people will say, oh, I want to talk to this person, okay? Because you'll learn a lot from it too.
Hi, this is what, yes, okay. So my advice would be to dig your well before you're thirsty. It's a great quote that a mentor gave me that I now steal whenever I speak. It's great because it very easily breaks down the idea that you don't know when you're going to be thirsty, but you start working on it as soon as possible. In the legal career, my legal career at least, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. You go to law school and it's 3 years and they don't always teach you exactly what you're going to be going into. You do internships and you work over the summers and things, but you don't know, okay, I'm going to go into, what's the difference between transactional and litigation? What's the difference between transactional commercial real estate versus residential real estate? There's all these different little areas. I didn't even find commercial real estate until the past 5 years. Only after speaking with someone and having lunch with them and talking with them years prior that I didn't meet up with them again years down the line, that passed along my resume to someone that was able to make the connection for me. And only recently with my current position, I was able to speak with someone that knew someone at my current firm. And they passed along my resume, I spoke with someone, and that led to me finally coming to my current position. Your net worth is your network. Kerry mentioned that it's very important to start networking. Finding your passion and what you want to do, it's very hard to say, okay, I want to do this for the rest of my life when you're 17 or 18 years old. I definitely thought when I was sitting in your seats right now that I would be an attorney. I didn't know what that really meant. So if you have the opportunity to start working towards those things, I think it's very important to start building or start digging your well now while you still aren't thirsty just yet.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? I just want to add to what he said about networking. Is my favorite line is, networking is one letter away from not working.
Wow, that's great, Kerry. Thank you. It's always good to follow an author, right? So I have 3 pieces of advice, and I'll try to be succinct if possible. One's practical, one's a little more esoteric, and one's just a personal plea to all of you. So on the practical side, one of the common themes through all of the work that I've done, whether it's in entrepreneurialism or running a family business or being involved in philanthropies and nonprofits, is having a framework with which we use to set strategy, to set the vision for the organization, and then to manage the organization. And that strategy that I've seen people grow multi-billion-dollar businesses from, that have run nonprofits, that have made great impact in the world, is based on the Rockefeller rules, the Rockefeller habits, whatever you want to call them, that go back to the early days of the Rockefeller family, and the foundation is still using them. And an author put that together in a book called Scaling Up. And it's sort of the Bible for entrepreneurs and professional managers of businesses to create strategy and to run their businesses. So my practical advice is get the book, read it, it's pretty quick. But it's a wonderful tool to manage and run and lead organizations, no matter what type of organizations those are, educational institutions, nonprofits, you name it. So very practical tip. A little bit more high level is, let's talk for 2 seconds about AI. I was just in a meeting earlier this week with 8 other guys that we have a monthly business group that gets together, and we were talking about the AI and how it affects our businesses. And we all felt like we were in a room in 1983 talking about what the internet was going to do, or 1993 basically, to change the world. And the internet has changed the world in ways we never could have thought. AI is going to do the same thing, and it's already happening. I mean, I assume none of you are using ChatGPT for your schoolwork, right? That's probably not okay, hopefully. But it's coming and it's working, and there's a technology called Open and Auto GPT, which we are all using in our businesses to solve problems, where you give Auto GPT a goal and it goes out and it does the most amazing things. We use this platform called 11, where we said during our meeting, create a song written by Prince in Prince's voice about the 8 of us in our meeting.
And in 2 seconds, there was a pretty good song of Prince singing about our meeting, which is spectacular. So think about all of the industries that are going to be completely disrupted and blown away by that. I'm sure you've all heard the statistic that by 2030, 85% of those jobs don't currently exist today. So I don't want to scare you too badly, but of the current jobs that do exist today, 80% of those will be disrupted either completely or to some degree by AI, which is unbelievable. That means it's going to impact every one of our jobs and every one of the jobs that's currently out there. So my call to arms is to think about how you can take a lead and play in this space and be smart and up to date with the latest technologies. There's a great tool out there called, has anybody been to the website called gizmodern.com? It's where old folks like us go to see what the coolest new tech is. Whether it's, it's a cell phone or it's some kind of cool technology, go to Gizmodern and you see like the coolest things that are out there. And my last piece of advice that's a personal plea is that I spent my life that started at Shadyside, then into academia, and into my current life, embracing and loving the humanities. And the reason I do that, whether you're going to be in science and math or medicine or education, is that the humanities to me are the so what of technology. What that means is that we've been doing great things with technology since humankind started, but so what? What do we do with it? How does it affect our lives, our relationships, our experiences with other people? And that's what politics and economics and philosophy and religion and sociology and all those great meaty humanitarian activities help us think through. And we're all in such privileged spaces with our access to education, to each other, to our network, that it's up to all of us to study and embrace the humanities and let that help guide society as we give back and assume leadership roles in wherever we go in life. So that's my final advice to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, everybody. And knowing and loving Shadyside students the way that I do means that I understand that as you were finishing your advice, Ryan, at least one of our august students in the room here was using ChatGPT to have Prince rewrite the Shadyside alma mater.
I can't wait to hear it.
30 seconds or less, starting with you, Kerry, again. We're on a little bit of a tight time frame. You know, these kids are paying for classes anyway. So, but what is your most cherished memory of Shadyside? 30 seconds or less.
All right, teachers, and my most important one was an English teacher I had freshman year, Richard Gregory, who believed in me, he cared about me, and he taught me to love writing and English, and he also kept in touch with me through my career. And he was always, he'd find my stories and he would send them back marked up for me. So, I mean, it was just an amazing connection I made, and to have somebody believe in me at that age made all the difference.
A commitment to the highest level of excellence inside and outside of the classroom. In addition to teachers, my most cherished memories come from soccer. I started playing competitive soccer at the junior school and played in the middle school, culminating our senior year, where our varsity team got together. We had a pretty talented team, but we lost only one game that season. And we probably exceeded our talent level. And we learned how to win. We had a commitment to winning every game. We worked hard preseason. We worked hard, during practices. We were mentally prepared for every game. We overcame injuries and several other setbacks, and we beat the best teams in the state and one of the best teams in the state of Ohio in University School. And I will never forget the relationships and the camaraderie that we had, and we just learned how to win. And that was a big part of my experience here at Shadyside.
I can say mine was not formal dress day. I do not miss this. I'm just kidding. It's great. But narrowing it down to one thing is very difficult. Teachers, of course. One moment that I particularly remember is my final band concert. I was a first chair trumpet, And my very last song, I got to have a solo. And I can definitely say that's because of Mr. Navola, who I heard is retiring. So congratulations, Mr. Navola, and thank you for everything you did for me while I was here at the school.
Well done. Yeah, it's hard to pick one memory because I remember them like it was yesterday. I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday, but I remember 1,000 things that happened at Shady Side. I'll reduce it to faculty too. My favorite, one of my memories is of Dr. Sauer's economics class, where he insisted that we learn how to argue the other side of an argument that we were on. So he would say, what do you believe about an issue? And then he would force you to take the opposite view and argue that other view. And that has played such an important role in my academic and personal and professional life ever since. I think that is so valuable. It also helps you win arguments with your friends, your family, and other people. So in a hyper-politicized world, it's really good to be able to do both sides of the argument. So I will always thank Dr. Sauer for that.
Kerry, Alex, Remington, Ryan, thank you for your thoughtfulness. Thanks for your continued faith in the academy and all you do to engage the life of the school. Let's hear it one more time.